that ends up going and taking off. We don't know until we create it. So
Okay.
I think industry-wise, I think that's something we need to do.
I agree with that, and in fact, that's exactly what I'm doing. But at this time, I think the reason why most people probably haven't been able to do that before in the past is because everybody probably wanted to be the front man, and or if it's not their thing, and or that type of thing going on. So I think if we are able to put those kind of things to the side and work together for the bigger picture, you can have more collabs. Why is it that we think we don't have more collabs in this industry?
Business don't be right though. That's why the collabs don't go down.
Okay, who said that?
Business don't be right. You can collab
Jules.
all you want,
Oh, I got
but
you.
that business got to be right if we collabing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And a lot of times it sound good from afar, but once you get them split seats together, niggas change. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it a bean. I'm gonna keep it a bean. You know what I'm saying? It's all in them split seats. You know what I mean? Some of us do this for a living.
That's true.
So collabs sound great, and I don't think collab is the answer for the gospel industry. I think we need to get to a sense of reality again. I think, a lot of times in our culture, we live in a fictitious world. You know what I'm saying? You sing one thing and you live another, and you expect people to buy into that. And there's a lot of that in this industry. You know what I mean? And this is a day and age where it's all about reality TV. You know what I'm saying? You listen to hip hop music, they talking about what they really feel. You know what I mean? Our genre, we get up there and we say things that we don't ever have to say until we sing that song.
Mm-hmm.
And people feeling it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's playing the same way the next man is playing on YouTube. Mm-hmm. People feeling it. You know what I'm saying? So I think the industry is suffering because we're not doing it from an organic place like it used to happen when the Hawkins would sit on a piano and create a song. Or Andre Crouch, or commission. You know what I'm saying? Like them days are not here. Like we just refurbishing ourselves and expecting people to buy it. And I just think that's the problem. You know what I mean? We could collab, yeah, but at the end of the day, if we just doing what we've been doing, people ain't checking for it. You know what I mean? I got a son, and he don't care nothing about nobody gospel music. And when I was his age, I was all up in commission. Whining, BB and CC, like I was about that life.
Yeah.
You could care less. You know what I'm saying?
You got a point. My son they glorify what they see in the hood, in the streets. They want to. That's what. And our sons hang together, actually. Jules and son and I and mine.
Right.
They care more about what's going on. With Pop's, in the Pop Smoke era. Even though he's deceased now, they care more about what's going on out there than here. That's why I appreciate all kinds of genres of gospel. I appreciate all sides of gospel because I believe we need more than just one type of thing to draw the youth. I think it's imperative. I think choirs are imperative. I think groups are imperative. I think gospel rappers are imperative. Parody is what we need. I feel more importantly than anything. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with collabing. Cortez, Vaughn, how you feel about it?
Good evening, everybody. But I feel like collabs can be definitely beneficial. However, as you all said about your sons, I have two sons. I have my oldest boy who is 18 now. He likes gospel, but really what I'm learning with dealing with my children is that sometimes even myself, I've presented that which works for church, but is not necessarily felt in their life. So, we worship you, all that's good, but it's like they like those songs, are attracted to the songs, not necessarily about running the streets and being with females, but about that real life stuff that they feel that and that feel of the music. So I feel that as we progress in the years to come, it's the authenticity of the representation of God in life, not just in the church setting. Because as Gene said, being a pastor, my dad's a bishop. Look, church is never going to get back the way it was. And for those who try to force that, I believe they're going to find themselves in a slow death. Maybe a fast one, but it's going to be a slow death, because we're never going to be back the way it was. So it's a place of God. In Bible days, God, not to be too spiritual, but God always, Bishop Pugh, God always allowed things to happen to introduce whatever the next wave of his miracle was going to be. Whatever the next wave of ministry was going to be, there was always something that preceded that. There was a garden that preceded Adam. There was a Red Sea that was already there by the time Moses gets to it. There's a giant before David gets there. So whatever the next miracle was, there was always the obstacle before the miracle. So I believe this pandemic has created an obstacle, but the Lord is going to provide the miracle through us. So what he's done, but it may not be the way we've seen it. It's got to be our creative gene. I preached a message in San Antonio the other week where I was stuck for 4 days after, but nonetheless, it was entitled "The Creator of the Creative," how God is literally sparking something in those he's created to be creative. And now there's something stirring in us that will never be shut down if we allow it to be stirred. And there's some of us who are experiencing that we could do more than just preach. We could do more than just sing. It was in us, but it needed an opportunity to be presented for it to be poured out of us. So the representation of Christ is going to be through our lives and through our experiences. So I think gospel music is going to have to get back to the place of where our forefathers sang about an experience that now God provided in that experience. Not necessarily just singing about climbing up the rough side of mountains, but speaking about what the other side of the mountain was like, but I didn't forget what the mountain did to me. Wow. Because the truth is the mountain robbed me of some stuff, but what I was able to gain after my mountain experience has been phenomenal. And my last point, to the point Gene made, I had this conversation with somebody who called about a virtual situation, and they popped up to me like, well, that's, why is it that much and it's virtual? I said, well, literally, if you look at it, this to Gene's point, because we're getting this a lot. If you look at it, you don't have to pay for a ticket. You don't have to pay for 3 people flying with me. You don't have to pay for a whole entourage. You ain't got to pay for that. So really, this is cheaper for you than it would have been, because I still have to put out. And then if we don't put out that product and it's not efficient, then y'all gonna talk about me and dog me and try to drag me on social media. Man, I can't believe Jane put out that, like his shirt wasn't even on. It's just always, something. But I think that if we're presenting to people on that point, that no, it does cost for excellence. And I'm giving you something, but it's gonna cost me to give it. But you don't have flights, you don't have hotels, you don't have 5 rooms to book. You want Vincent Tharpe, that's 80 people got to go with him. So at the end of the day, you don't have to pay for all, but I'm giving you excellence in the presentation, but it is going to cost you something to get that. So I think if we can kind of help change people's mindset to always think that, and at the end of the day, my management told me this, said, let people understand they're not paying you for 30 minutes because it took you longer to make what their 30 minutes got them.
Right. That's true.
So I'm only paying for 30 minutes. No, you're paying for a whole day that it took me to put this 30 minutes together, especially when you want certain outfits and you want your name of your church called, the name of your organization called, and you want to hear your favorite song and your favorite medley. Okay, well, that's going to take us a day to
You're talking good, Reverend. You're talking good.
So therefore, you're not, I think churches and those who are trying to get this level of excellence have got to understand that dynamic. And for the artist who's watching and says, I don't have content, I only got a couple of songs, I don't have a multiplicity of songs. Well, hook up and shoot some emails, get online and go in some inboxes and, I love your music. Do you have a TV track that I can sing to you? I mean, because what it does for us artists just helps get the songs out that we do. I mean, just don't act like you wrote it. But at the end of the day, but I mean, do what you
Right.
gotta do for those who are watching. I don't have as many songs as this person has. Well, get on or go on YouTube, find a 2-track or something.
Right. So we get what he's saying tonight. There's various avenues you can
Find
take. Anybody want to jump in
TV
on
track.
that? Oh,
Download.
here you go.
That's
You
a
breaking
Sing, but you gotta develop content.
Bishop, you breaking up. He's probably because he's on the road.
Yeah, Thursdays is church nights, y'all forget.
Yeah.
But
It's all good. It's all good.
But y'all go ahead and take it because I'm in a bad area.
Yeah. I get what he's saying. Go ahead, Gene. Anybody else could just jump into it. Y'all don't have to wait.
Yeah, and forgive me, y'all, if I may be talking all over the place, but as I was listening to Bishop Cortez talking, and as I was listening to Jay Clay talk about collaborating and how can we push this industry forward. And again, what I'm getting ready to say, it's just kind of off the top of my head. It's really not fine-tuned, but because everything is moving more in a digital space now, everything, church is virtual, music is digital, CDs are really antiquated now. Netflix is killing right now. Amazon Prime, Hulu is killing. Here's where I'm going. I really think that the industry could move forward if there was a platform for more of us to be seen. And since a lot of us can't get on the mainstream channels like a BET, then what would it take to have like an actual streaming channel, kind of like a Netflix, but geared more toward gospel? Now, I don't know if it's already something like that. I don't know if it's something like that in the works.
Shout out to the Lonnie Hunter TV show, who does have a
Okay.
variety show and similar like that. And I'm also a media partner with that show. Hands Up Radio Show is media partners. We need to support brands like that because it does also help us. We don't have no more Bobby Jones, so we have to be our own Bobby Jones and create our own stage. And luckily, we're living in an era of social media where that should be a little bit more easier to do. But go ahead, Gene.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I think that people feel as though social media is the answer.
Right.
And when you think about it, social media is hit or miss. Everybody's not just on their phone all day.
That's true.
My sister, whom I really still consider to be a young adult, but she's not on her phone all day. She watches television, but she's not on her phone. She's not on Facebook and Instagram all day. So, we just can't take for granted, well, if you can master the art of social media, then you've arrived. Now, I'm not trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not trying to diminish the power of social media, but I don't think that social media is the end all be all. And so, I just really wish, and shout out to Lonnie Hunter, but yeah, I mean, that's the only thing that I can say is, we as a community, we have the power to really push this thing forward. And it just seems like when we try, it doesn't really just propel like it could propel. Now, I could be wrong. Let me just put this out there. I'm not throwing shade at nobody. These are just ideas that I'm kind of rambling off the top of my head.
That's all right.
And I'm looking at Pastor Stan Jones. Man, what you? Hey, man, anytime Stan start doing this, I'm like, yeah, that brain is working, man. That brain is doing something.
You got me thinking.
Yeah. So, and I'm gonna say this one thing. I'm gonna say this last thing, and then I'm going to, give somebody else the floor. I would like to see for our industry, rather, I would like to see the complete versatility of what our industry presents come back. I feel like, and again, this is in my humble opinion, I would say one of the best times of our era was late 90s, maybe to early mid 2000s, because everybody was well represented, from quartet to choirs, to traditional soloists, to contemporary soloists. And it just kind of feels like now some of that art is kind of being phased out. Again, not throwing shade at anybody else, but what I personally don't see is just the complete totality of every layer within our industry. I mean, I'm sorry, within our genre. Am I making sense or am I rambling?
Total sense, complete sense.
Yeah. So I mean, that's all, man.
Too much of anything isn't good for you.
Yeah.
So I believe in variety, and that's why I was just saying we need a little bit more variety and some some more parity in the industry, which we do have. It's just unfortunate that some just doesn't get as much love as others. James Mable, what's going on, bro?
Man, what's happening, brothers? Good to see everybody. Brother, I'm just glad to be alive. I know I'm just jumping in the conversation, just getting done with Bible study with Pastor, but
preach
to have 13 days without any power.
Wow.
I have
just
got power and water back at my spot here in the west side of Houston, area called Katy Cinco Ranch. Yesterday. And so I was actually able to get out. I knew the storm was going to be bad, so I hightailed it out and went back to my parents' place in my hometown, about 45 minutes away from here. And so they never lost power. They had an old school Generac, and so we were good for the entire time. But my unit, my spot, it was just mad crazy. And so I just got back into Houston yesterday. And so, and I unfortunately, there are a few people that I knew that passed from hypothermia. And so it's been a real rocky ride, but nevertheless, man, I'm here and just grateful to, to join the conversation with all of these greats on this live as we come together every time. And good to see Vincent and everybody, man, the new faces out there, man. Happy to be on.
Ernest Pugh, what is this a picture of? Whose basement is this?
Mine.
That's your basement? Oh my God! He showed the damage from the accident. Stan Jones was like, "What?" it was. This is crazy. What was happening out there?
The devil. But we won.
But we still here. My God!
We always win.
Jesus!
I told you, State Farm and God is they all right.
My God! I said, what is this? It looks like a natural disaster.
I'll send you a love offering.
And what? Well, we gonna send you something, Jesus.
Right.
Oh my God!
Bucket of beans is good,
But we go.
13 days. Wow. I just want to know, Mable, have you had a shower today?
What? What? Okay.
We'll talk.
What? Oh my God.
Ernest Pugh, ladies and gentlemen.
Ernest Pugh.
Everybody, welcome Ernest Pugh. Well, just welcome him to the team. I'm with the collabing. I understand Jules' perspective on that. I also understand Gene Moore's perspective on it. It seems like we're at a standstill at some point when it comes to some things. What is an artist to do? Is independent truly the way? We talk about this all the time. Independent must be the way, especially if you don't have here we go. He's going to come and talk all about it today. Is independent the way, or is making sure you do the work so that a major label can recognize you so that you can become all that you think you need to be? But sometimes it's the things in life that we think we need that keeps us from succeeding, from excelling in life. I think if you do the work and you stay on your grind, somebody will see you on fire and come and watch you burn. And I know that was pretty interesting how I put it, but the whole point is when you're doing something that's really intricate, someone will pay attention at some point. Can someone speak to that artist that is being frustrated at this time, or someone who's feeling like giving up and throwing in the towel at this time, about how important it is to stay the course? Anyone?
I'm gonna nominate Ernest Pugh. He was shaking his head the whole time he was talking to us.
And then let's talk major labels. What is it? 3 of them? What you got? RCA, Motown, and E1, right?
That's it.
And they're very crowded, right?
You said Ty Scott?
Ty Scott.
I forgot about Ty Scott. Well, okay. So Ty Scott. But so with that, with the labels, I think labels in my mind, and I've been on one, so I'm gonna say this. Let me see how to. Okay, I feel like sometimes with the larger labels, they can be people collectors. And when I say people collectors, I feel like I'm gonna get this great singer and that great singer and that great singer, and whoever can pop or get the most numbers or whatever. And I'm not going to do the green light on all those other 4 people who have a passion, they have a talent, they have a vision in their heart, but they got to sit there sometimes as a person who's been collected and pursuant to the agreement, you're not coming out with a record until we say we're ready for you to come out. Whereas on the independent side, the reason I'm so passionate is when I feel that God is leading me to release content into the earth, I'm gonna go and release content into the earth, and I'll trust God. Some of us have done a pretty good job with our money most of the time when you get at least beyond that age of where you need fast cars and all the labels. And I think you can go and find what I believe you need as marketing, promotion. A lot of independent people. I use the same marketing, radio, promotions people that RCA and Motown and E1 uses. And when I get ready to get my royalty check, I don't divide that check with a label. I bring all the money home. And so as an independent artist, you can get the money from the royalties off of the vocal performance from Sound Exchange and for ownership of those masters. But when you have to now defer to a label, you're not going to own those labels. And sometimes the terms on those contracts are very, they're long. And you may not see a return on your money for several years. So I'm glad that I was introduced as an independent artist first. And then I got a little bit of taste of what it was to be with somebody. And so I just chose, and I found out that I did not lose time. I was able to pick the producer I wanted, pick the songs I wanted. I didn't have you to tell me who needs to produce it, and then I don't gel with them, or we don't mesh. And then here we are, we waste all this time to create the content that neither one of us are comfortable with. So I just find that it's a lot less restraints when you're independent than to go and submit to a system that you got to wait on. So
absolutely, I agree.
To each his own.
So for me, going from independent to doing a joint venture deal, I think it's kind of cool because I understood the part of owning, or at least part owning, my masters. So my deal is, like you said, I own all of the masters for my independent records, but I'm part owner of my masters, meaning that I still have a say-so in what's going on. So I'm 51%, and it's different from, just signing a deal. You see what I'm saying? A traditional deal, exclusive deal. So my deal is different, and my percentages and my numbers are different. So I'm making more money, if I'm selling, 5,000, 10,000, some downloads or somebody down, I'm making more percentages off of that sale from Sound Exchange on the radio, all of that. I'm getting, God bless, thank you, God. I got my first royalty Sound Exchange check back in December. And I said, wow. I said, this is amazing. And then, of course, outside of your BMI and your ASCAP and all of that, I got a artist royalty. And I was like, wow, this is different. Because normally, I would make my CDs and sell them, and then that would be my artist royalty 100%. But it was different this time. But I think too, it's knowing the business of what you're getting into. So then that way, when you get into what you're doing, people can say, oh man, how does it feel to be signed on? My deal is good. It's not just a regular situation. It's a different style of a deal.
And a good attorney.
Yeah. And a good attorney, yes.
Yeah,
my check hit last night from Sound Exchange. Mine did too, bro.
I love it.
Listen,
Vincent
I
Tharpe
was
got
like,
something
I
to
woke
say.
up this morning, I was like,
Right.
oh, okay.
Where did that come from? Here it is.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I told the wife, I said, go find a new kitchen table and some chairs. Go ahead, go on out and find
Now,
that. You know,
now teach them sound exchange is different from what you collecting from your regular royalties from your
Right.
Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, all of those type of things. You have to actually register the correct way for sound exchange in order to receive your monies from that. A lot of people don't even don't know, and you'd be amazed how many phone calls I've gotten and how many people I found. And now Stan has a red cup tonight.
I told you about that cup, man.
From white to red.
We got the blue to red. We got a lot going on today. Vincent Tharpe, you wanted to say something. Go ahead, Brody.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Ernest, go back to the labels. Do you think signing with a major label or being a part of that at one point set you up to be as successful as an independent artist now?
No.
You don't think?
I think it got in the way.
Okay.
And I mean, that's just for me. Some are different.
Everybody's got a different story. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes when you get lost in the shuffle, and I won't call the name, but an artist came to me. I was getting ready to do something with one of the majors about 3 years ago, and they said, "Why would you need to?" When I started with my independent, I contracted the same radio people that the majors were, so I already had visibility, had exposure. I was working more than the labels, people on the major labels. So he came to me and said, "I understand you're getting ready to finalize the deal. Why?" And I said, "I don't know. I guess I need security." He said, how much more security you need when you're making 100%? Even if all you sell, now say for instance, Tori Kelly sells 500,000 units. She's got to split that. She may never own those masters. But if I don't sell but 100,000 and I'm bringing all of it to my house, who's more at the bank?
That's true.
That's what he told me. And so when he told me that, I said, wow. He said, and then think about how long they're going to own those masters based on what the terms of that contract is. So you may not even start seeing any money for 5, 7, 8, 10 years based on how that contract goes, which by the time you get them back possession of those masters, that stuff ain't hot no more. So you're going to get the peanuts and they're going to get all the money during the cookout period. Why would you give something you've created to somebody else and split it with them 50-50 or 60-40? So that's kind of the mindset I had. And so I didn't listen to what he said. Eventually, 2 years later, I went and got with somebody and I said everything they told me. Everything.
I think it's more important for independent artists to get a good distribution deal. Anything, yeah,
very important.
Right, because that's where Stan Jones come into play, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm just sitting here right now.
Guy. And I'm waiting on you to say something. I'm waiting to hear from Gene, and I heard from Ernest's perspective as well. I heard from Ernest's perspective as well, dealing with the label and independent. But you know, Gene deal with
y'all trying to get Stan in trouble.
And I know Stan. You know, come on, you deal with it all too. But me as an independent artist, you know, I'm good.
Y'all can't get Stan in trouble.
Wake up, Stan.
Well, it's just about the distribution for me, you know.
Yeah, me too. I got the major distribution with E1, but I'm just saying, you have to own your master.
Absolutely. I'm with you.
Hold up our checks, our royalty checks from the label, and I would love any major person to hold up their check and show you what they make off of the sale of their material, and then let an independent person, me and Jason, will hold up our checks. I promise you, it's gonna be very much different. That's all I'm saying.
Yikes.
Well, okay.
That's all. Unless you're selling gold records, I want to know. I want to see that check.
Okay. As y'all know, I am an exec for a record label.
Yes, you are.
So, the truth of the matter is, everybody has their own lane, like somebody said earlier. But we as labels have actually funded and broke artists who went on to have extremely wonderful careers. Now, the truth is that we are in place to help fund artists who cannot fund themselves. If you can fund yourself, that's cool. That's all good. But you know, the reasons why these deals are in place is so we can still keep the lights on. Like, we ain't making money hand over fist. A lot of times y'all will be extremely surprised of what you may think is happening that's not actually happening. As far as you know, you think everybody's in the black and we making so much money, you know, from but that's not the case at all. I mean, but again, we are funding dreams. We are breaking artists. We are giving artists a chance to expose themselves as we believe we can do that, and we've done that. There are several artists that are doing extremely well that started from a major situation. Now, if you can grow to a point to where you can say, I want to do this on my own, we welcome that. We like Ernest Pugh his music is distributed on the label because he don't need our support necessarily. He got money like that. You see all this stuff behind him? He got that. So
he got money like that.
Exactly.
He got that bread. He got that bread.
He got that bread.
Guess who else? Tamla Man, no label. Jacqueline Carr, no label.
No label.
More money than the average. If you do the top 5 gross income of 2020, 29, go look at what Tamla Man is bringing, and then go look at some of what the majors are bringing. That's all I'm saying.
That's cool.
I mean, but Tamla Man got TV money. She don't need no label.
You have to.
That's true.
Well,
you have to have a lot of things in place.
That was Barry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you're gonna do it by yourself, it's a big responsibility to do it successfully. You have to have the same team that a label would have in the first place. Ernest, you know what I'm talking about. You gotta have a radio. You gotta have
relationships.
You got to have somebody that's going to work the radio. You got to have somebody that's going to be a publicist for you. You got to have somebody that's going to be an attorney for you. You got to have somebody who's going to market and promote you. It's a lot of stuff involved, and everybody's just not equipped to do that, or not in the position to afford.
The normal person is not equipped to do it. They're not.
Right.
They're not.
So for me, it's half and half. So that's all I was saying again to Ernest's point. You know, I do my half. I turn in the records. I turn in all of my product, and I turn in everything I'm supposed to turn in, and then the label does their part. So that's with the partnership. That's the way we do what we do, and I think it's cool. And I'm gonna be honest, it has helped me, you know, for people outside of respecting me as a writer to respect me as an artist. You know what I mean? Will I stay on a major? You know, whatever the Lord wants, you know, we'll figure that out, you know.
You have become the major. You are a major.
Yeah. So I'm saying that to say, you know, it works hand and foot if you know the business part.
I'm gonna say this part too, and I'm gonna let y'all chime in some more. At some point, you gotta become your own. At some point. You got pioneers here in this room, you know what I'm saying, that started from the bottom, now they're here. I mean, real pioneers.
Absolutely.
At this point, why aren't more of us taking on that responsibility? Like Diedrich, D Hattie, I just had this conversation. He said, bro, I finally decided to step out on my own. He said, I done made so many people so much money. He said, it's time for me to do it myself. You know what I'm saying? And Pastor Charles Perry's here now. When is it time to go forth and make these statements? Those that can and will. Why don't we see more of that? You think? We know the obvious reason, but anybody else want to speak on that?
I'm gonna say this right quick, and somebody else do that. Again, I'm talking from a label standpoint. So a lot of people and artists, they tend to listen to certain generals of culture, right? You have people like Jay-Z, Prince, who writes Slave on His Face, and so on and so forth. Like, I don't knock that. I think all that stuff is amazing when you are in position
to do it
that way. See, that's the thing. But these generals are influencing people who are not yet in position to be that way.
Got you.
And feel like, you know, I want all of my masters. You're coming to Sony and saying you want everything, but you really don't have anything at this point.
Right.
So it's okay to grow yourself until you can get to that place. Like, everybody feel like they can drop records because Beyonce dropped Lemonade out of nowhere and she didn't need promotion. You know what I'm saying? She sold 1 million records. But now it's not like that. You got to get and grow yourself to that point.
Can I pick
That's what I'm saying. Like it's two sides of it. Labels are still important and viable and still selling records and making careers. But I do not knock the indies who can do it successfully and do it on. I think I applaud them and I'm very, I admire that for sure. But don't talk about us too bad. Ernest Pugh. Now it's on.
No, I just got a question. I think what can help people, at least it did for me, I had really good credit. And so when it was time to do some of the stuff, I did get some help from the banks. And so until monies could come, now you got to pay all that stuff back. So some things with keeping your credit good, with having money. I mean, at 19, I was doing stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. I spent 20 years in the United States Army. So I learned how to save. So when I got out, I did have a retirement pension. I did have decent. So, I mean, it's different things you can do to set yourself up for success to where you don't have to work. Because what is a record deal? It's a glorified loan. They want their money back with interest.
That's what I'm saying, Ernest. Like some of these artists are putting up so much. I've heard artists who literally put their houses up to put a project out, and they end up losing their homes because they didn't necessarily know what was up. So that's why labels, they can afford to take those chances because they do have money to do so. So you're right. Listen to what you just mentioned. You went to banks. You did all these different things. The banks, I'm sure they charged you interest, but you probably paid them off. That's wonderful and all. But a lot of people are just not in shape to do that.
Gotcha. Hold on, guys. Let's take one of the chat room questions. Somebody said, "Can someone explain?" Jules Bartholomew was just talking about this. Jules, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you explain to someone what is split sheets and how does it work?
A split sheet is well, Jay was talking about collabing earlier, and when you collab and you write with someone, the split sheet is the deciding factor of how much of that song is yours for the sake of publishing. So if a lot of times it's split evenly when it's like a writing camp. So let's say it's 5 people in a room, everybody gets 20% publishing. You sign an agreement that says everybody's entitled to 20% publishing. And that's the split sheet, basically.
Can you explain works for hire?
Works for hire. All right. So if I don't know how to accompany myself, but I'm writing a song, I need to tell them. I'm writing a song and I hire a keyboardist to come and do what I ask him to do. I pay them, and that's works for hire. So then they're not entitled to publishing because they got paid for their service.
So I hope that clears that up for y'all. Anybody else have any questions, you can ask in the chat. But these things are really important to know because this will make you or break you, especially in this business where it's already tough as it is. And another important factor that myself and Hattie was talking about last week was the importance of treating people the right way, because the same people you mistreat on your way up, you may see them on your way down, and for sure you will see them while you coming down, because nobody stays up forever unless you're Michael Jackson. But the emphasis on that is, and I asked him a question is, why do we have that trouble? And I posed that same question to you, gentlemen. I said, why do you think we have that trouble in this industry where we have the least amount of money, the least amount of success, the smallest genre, and yet we have so much problem. It's so problematic with this one shady and that one, like everybody's walking around like they're millionaires. We do have some, but not very many. So why is that? And he made a very interesting point is when somebody sometimes in the industry, when they choose who's going to be the guy and it's such a small genre, people tend to back it, no matter if it's good or or bad? Because we celebrate mediocrity all the time in this industry. How do y'all feel about that? Do we celebrate mediocrity or do we celebrate what's good?
I feel like people are sheep for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna just leave it at that. I feel like if somebody with a lot of clout gives somebody an endorsement, then it's kind of like, oh yeah, man, they dope. Yeah, they dope. Well, what's dope about them? They dope, man. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I just kind of feel like that's just us, man. And when I say us, I'm not even just talking about our industry and gospel. I kind of feel like for the most part, not everyone, let me just clarify that, but I feel like for the most part, especially in this culture, the psychology of people is to just gravitate to what's hot, who's validated, who's put on the pedestal.
That's good.
Very true.
Yeah.
So celebrating value over fluff. How do we learn how to determine the two? Is it the fact that we don't really know talent? I think we do. But what is it about that? Go ahead. Go.
I think it goes back to kind of what Jules said too. It's and what we were talking about beforehand. It's ministry and then industry. So the ministry aspect of how is your ministry affecting me through your song? You know what I mean? So that, your ministry is more powerful than your talent. Because everybody can jump around the stage and sing, and look at there's so many people that can sing and they've mastered all of Kim Burrell's runs. They've mastered, but outside of the talent and your giftedness, how is your ministry affecting people? How many lives got saved from listening to your material? Who didn't commit suicide? Who wanted to give up and didn't give up when they heard your song? How is that affecting? How is your ministry in music? So if we say the minister of music, how is your ministry in music affecting people outside of your talent just affecting people? So they say when they see you, they say, "Oh my God, they about to kill it." You know what I mean? But when they hear you, they say, "Man, they got some songs I want to hear, and something on the inside of me. It's gonna change my life. It's gonna change my life, and it's gonna change." I think that's the most important thing. And for a lot of us on this call, I know for a fact I can just can tell by just talking to everybody on this call, the ministry is the most important thing. And so when I say collab, I'm not just talking about writing. I'm talking about collabing with relationship of getting to know me ministerial wise outside of my gift. So
That's
good.
I
can write. Yeah, I can sing. Yeah, I can do that. But ministry wise, where's the substance at? Where's the substance that supports my gift? So what made Thomas Whitfield and what made Andre Crouch and what made Walter Hawkins, there was some substance and some testimony and relationship that came through that music.
And
I
think too, you have to understand how to differentiate between industry and ministry, because to me, industry is marketing, promotions, is branding. You could take a basic person, put them in a particular amount of clothing, put some reverb on their voice, all these sound effects, and you can make them a mega star. That's industry. But when you come to ministry, that's somebody who is concerned with yokes being broken, burdens being lifted, salvation, rededication on the church. I think it takes, to balance that whole question and equation, you have to differentiate. And I can see it, and no judgment, period, because I understand that the industry side of it is, if I spend $500,000 to brand you and to propel your career, I want my money back.
Absolutely.
So you're gonna be doing videos, you're gonna sing on BET, you're gonna be gonna do everything you gotta do to give me my money back. Now, you do with industry, okay, where is your heart? Do you consider this on is Sunday and churches and rededication and souls your thing? You would be surprised if you read some of the data on people who are in industry who could care less about ministry. They don't even want to stay after the concert to sign CDs and books. Because that was an appearance. This ain't no, I don't do deliverance and lay hands on somebody. Pray for people. We in COVID. This was before.
Yeah.
So you have to differentiate between if it's going to be industry and ministry, then find the beauty and the balance in that. Otherwise, we'll be scratching our head like, but they ain't real. Yes, they are. They're real to their career.
Absolutely, man. That's
so we've confused those that are on their way in. To a certain extent, we've confused a lot of them because they are so I was listening to some records, and then I listened to a season of records, and I was just like, man, for artists, I was like, what happened to this moment? You know what I'm saying, Ernest? And what happened to this moment? There was 3 records where I was just like, oh my God. And then when it got to the next 3 or 4, I was just like,
watered down.
It was watered down because it was like, I mean, and this is just for me personally speaking. You know, I didn't feel the same passion because after the platform had been elevated,
right,
the passion
when they took the radio. You don't remember that conversation at Kathy Hughes' cruise when they were going to do traditional music and choirs, and it shifted around that time. I can't remember when, but I remember when that shift came. They had to water it down for what? For the what is it? Urban AC. They were trying to the different promoters and the advertisers. The music to be too churchy, so they had to go to the
Smoking Awful went off on that cruise. On that panel.
That was the end of that was a paradigm shift. And
you saw Ernest, you're right. You saw people back down and say, I don't want this no more.
Absolutely.
Because it became more about, crossing over into being inspirational instead of being gospel.
So once you understand that, you can be the spirit of Issachar to discern the seasons.
Preach.
Come on now. Watch yourself, Uncle.
Watch yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What you guys are saying is so paramount. The world needs to hear it. And I'm glad that you're bringing this transparency to our audience. We hold nothing back here. We always give it like it is. The only one that it was only a few of us that have to keep quiet on some things, but the rest of it, you just let go and let God. let go and let God. And with that being said, this industry, it is an industry. If you want, I tell artists all the time, if you're interested in just making music, to sing praises to God for God, you can do that. But when you get in the industry, there's a certain thing called the game, and it's either you play it or you don't. For people like Bari, how do you cope with that? How do you deal, Bari? Are you there?
I'm not gonna even lie to you. You gotta ask me that again. I was eating, bro.
You love to eat, but we are calling you on your eating time. So
Ernest. Hey, Ernest, don't start with me today.
I want to know what you
Put
eat.
that blue cup down.
For Ernest with that blue cup?
Yeah, with that blue
Every
cup.
time Jabari says something, he find that cup. Go ahead, Bari.
Find that cup. Hey, Trevone, I'm still blocked though. Let's get back to this question.
Still after all of that? Ernest, you got to do better. We love you, Ernest.
Oh my God.
You got to do
Ernest
better,
know how to hold a grudge.
You got to do better, Ernest. Yo, they cracking up in this chat at you, Ernest. That's messed up. You still got this man blocked.
Pray church.
Oh, you said pray?
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. What was the question?
The question was, how do you cope with the games that people may want to play when it comes to the industry versus the ministry extent. Do Bari get caught up in all of that, or you not getting caught up in kissing this one tail and that one this and that and trying to smoosh people over? How do you deal with it?
Yeah, I'm not that guy, bro, at all. Stand to tell you, I'm not that guy at all. I don't. If I got to do all that to get where I need to be, I'll stay where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in kissing nobody's behind to get to where I need to be. I haven't had to do it so far, so I don't feel like I have to do it now. You know what I'm saying? I've heard some stories of some things that people have to do to get where they want to be, and I'm just not one of those guys that's willing to do that. Jason, I'm not willing to do it, bro.
Not at all, Doc.
No.
Yo, yeah, so yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yo, I was watching. I love watching unsung stories like that, but I like watching documentaries. There's a gentleman, got his name. Oh my God, he's still a comic, but he was a part of an awesome movie back in the day, and they had him on Comic Hype, and they was asking him, "Yo, dude, you could have been so much more. You know, you were supposed to be so much more. You had next. You know, why do you think you didn't reach those leaps and bounds that you were supposed to reach at that time?" And he said, he said, shout out to the Will Smiths of the world and all those kind of cats, man. He said those dudes work extremely hard. He said, however, he said there was just some things he wasn't willing to do to compromise himself to get there. And he said, I'll be happy with my couple millions as opposed to having hundreds of millions if it means that I had to sell my soul in that kind of way. And it was real interesting to me when he said this next part. He said, because he said, all of them stars that you see and you find out they dying from drug overdoses and they weren't happy all of that time. And you're like, yo, you got all that money. What you mean you're not happy? He said, because they got to look at themselves in the mirror and they know what they did to get there. We don't know, but they know what they did to get there. And I usually say, show me a person who's all the way on top, and I'll show you a person who did step on somebody at some point. What is that to you? Do you believe that you have to step on somebody in order to graduate to the next level?
Absolutely not. There's food at all the tables, man. There's room at the table for you, man. So definitely whatever you have going on, you can applaud it and definitely do whatever you got to do in order to achieve whatever goals that the Lord have set for you to achieve. And a lot of times we even mess up with that when trying to keep up with the Joneses and just trying to get what somebody else have. Man, you just be humble with what God has given you and celebrate the next person and watch how God bless you, man. And I'm a living witness of that.
All right. My shoes aren't one size fit all. What does that mean to you, Charlie?
That means you don't have my process. My process is different from yours, and I agree with what Bari just said. If that's what it takes to make it, I'm fine where I am. I believe that God has an ordained time for everyone. For everyone. The problem is we don't understand that there's benefits in the wait, and we don't like waiting our turn.
No, we don't.
I'm okay.
Come on, bro. Come on.
I'm okay with the waiting room because I know where my end result is going. I know where my end result is coming. So to answer your question, nah. I can't wear your shoe because I don't know what your process was. Just like you don't know what mine's is. You know what I'm saying? So that's where we all get it twisted. I'm not going to start. If you're a praise and worship leader and that's what you do, you stick to that. You don't need to do inspirational because you think it's winning. You stick to your assignment.
I love
and
that.
you watch God work for you. You understand what I'm saying? That's the problem. When we see stuff that's winning, we're quick to jump ship because we want to go somewhere that it looks exciting. Because this is an industry, nowadays, we just go with whatever the crowd is doing.
Yes, we do.
Nobody has no, it's like, what happened to and forget quality. Forget quality. We was talking about that last night in the studio. It's like this stuff that we supporting, it's not even mediocrity. It's just a minus. It depletes the glory and honor of kingdom. And that for me, where are the true trendsetters? You know, if God called you to do quartet, you stick to that. If you doing choir music, you stick to that and you wait until your turn comes. I'm telling you, I don't know what happened to that. I don't know what happened to the true vineyard workers. If you traditional, you work that window. You work that window until it's your turn. Because your turn is coming. Your turn is coming. It's can you sit while others are being applauded.
Wow.
Sometimes we don't like to see others being applauded when we're in our down season. But when you're in your down season, man, you got to learn how to salute other people that's winning. That's all to it.
Man,
Trey, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Bishop, because you've been waiting, and I'm
go ahead, Bishop.
Man, this is a real, like, I don't blow smoke. This is a real situation.
Mm-hmm.
In 03, 04, the Stellar Awards were in Nashville, Tennessee. At that time, there was a compilation project that I was a part of that was nominated in children's categories. Basically, that's what I call it, for 4 Stellars. It was for young people. I had a youth choir at that time. It was about 180, 190 kids.
Wow.
All we did was got nominated. So it didn't win, but I had a great time doing the project. There was an artist that I knew very well at the time. I'm in one of the reception places with him. And at this time, he was kind of, he was doing his thing, prime moment. And I asked for advice. I'm young. This is my first time at the Stellars as a, person who could get an award maybe. And he told me, after me asking for him for advice, and I bull you not, I remember it like it was yesterday, even though this was so many years ago. He said, well, in order to get where I am, these were his words, you may have to do some things you really don't agree with, but it'll help you get to where I am and where you feel like you want to be. I made up in that moment. I made up in that moment.
I'm good.
I can't be that guy.
There you go.
To what the good Reverend just said, I didn't win my first Stellar Award till 2019 or 2018.
Wow.
Well, look at God, you won it.
But you waited your turn, Bishop, didn't you?
It was 2004 that I was there wanting to be this Stellar Award winner, because in the culture, you win that, you on your way.
That's a Grammy.
Exactly. And then it took all the way till, but then because, and I'm not, and I don't boast in myself at all, but statistics say it takes 20 years to be an overnight success. I led worship for over 20 years for my grandfather, my father, and some others, and writing songs, singing songs in church, getting done over, did my first album in 2003. Nobody even know I did an album, produced it, wrote everything, did the whole thing myself, overlooked it. Nobody even seemed like they cared, but I went through, and it was a lot of torment that went through that, went with that, because I wouldn't do what everybody else was doing. And I stayed true to who I'm not Pastor Pugh. I can't sing high. I can't do all them riffs. I'm not Jay Clay. I'm just me. I'm the guy that's going to get up. I love praise and worship. I love to worship. That's me. I might do it a cappella. I love worship and I love the groove. So you give me a good hump and a funk, I'll have a good time in the day. But I learned how to stick, because that's just who I am. But I didn't get the award until 2018. Gotcha. I didn't get the international, I guess, recognition until 2018. But I've been working at this thing. I was a music pastor at the age of 16. I didn't get my first Stellar till I'm 40. What the heck is going on? But it's what he just said. But when your time happens, can't nobody take that from you.
Sure can.
Can't nobody rob you of it, and you don't need to apologize when you put your time in.
Watch yourself.
I'm a part of one of the greatest fraternities ever known to man, Kappa Alpha Psi. I don't apologize because I went through my process.
You went through it. Come on now. Watch yourself.
I went through my process.
We got battle rap in here.
They can't take my process. I say, they can't take my process from me. So, but it's something that the process taught me, that nobody can rob me of.
Bishop, you said a key word. You said a key word. You kept working though.
Yeah.
You kept working. That's what we.
That's the key.
That's where we fall short. We stopped working. Jules is on here.
But you gotta work. You gotta work with North. I did a series in March.
Oh, you can talk after you come out. I'm my back, bro. I don't mean
I did a series. I'm doing a sermon series in March entitled The Bubble. And it's to encourage people on what to do when you have to perform and nobody's clapping for you anymore.
Watch yourself.
When there's no audience, there's no fans. They're not nobody's hollering your name, but you still got to play the game of your life.
You better.
But you have no audience because you got a contract with an owner.
I love it, Bishop.
Watch yourself,
what do you
Bishop.
do when it's not 10,000 people to sing to anymore, but you still got to sing like he's good to you?
Come on in here, Bishop.
An audience of one.
An audience of one.
Break up the music. Bring out the good talk.
We are the only industry that are fighting amongst, to me, each other, because there's different demographics. You got those that have been in it for 30 plus years that are still trying to be relevant. You have
explain that. What do you mean?
No. I'm gonna set it up because I'm just gonna be
100 and stand on your face, bro.
Be 100. Be 100. Be 100.
It's very few that can stay relevant for 30 years.
It's very few.
But let me finish. We got those that have been 30 plus years that are still trying to be relevant. You got those that are 10 to 15 years that have tasted the relevancy and have lost the fervor because they have loved the platform. Then you got the new ones that are coming in that have caught on to the social media and are running off of the social media fame. So you have three different regimes in our industry that are fighting against each other. Let's be honest about it. And so I shouldn't have to keep stamping you if you've already been stamped and if you've already sold millions of records. Why do I have to keep stamping you multiple times? And why haven't you passed the mantle to the next? It's like you passing the mantle, but you holding on to it. And so you got 2 or 3 people with the baton still holding on to the same baton. Wow. And so it's hard for somebody else. And I'm not talking, Ernest Pugh supports everybody. Let me just say.
Yes, he does. He does. I could bear witness if somebody said he does. I don't know.
I know.
Maybe except for
He's
Jabari.
A supporter.
So it's no. Listen, I want to finish y'all because I want to know what y'all think about this.
This is so
good.
So
you got because I'm a studier of this because I've been watching a lot of hip hop documentaries and why they are so successful in the way that they move and how once one of them gets up that they bring all of their friends, and even if their friends can't rap, they still sell 1 million records because they put out one song that's amazing and everybody is posting each other.
That's true.
The solution is we have to support this new this regime. I'm even called the regime. There's a regime after the Donald Lawrence's where I put Jonathan Nelson and Ty Tribbett and in that mode right there. That was a regime of gospel music too. Jay Moss's and all of that, where we gotta start consistently supporting each other and the people, the parishioners, the millions of Christians have to see that we're supporting one another, regardless if you got 500 followers and I got 500,000.
But Jason, I want to ask you a question. What is that about in such a small industry? So many people are upset with one another. I'm
but
just
you know
confused. I'm really confused because I would think because the industry is small, that's every reason we would, people would get behind one another. Because I'm not in that industry, I don't understand it. But for somebody else that wants to understand it, what is the solution? Because we come up here, we are here monthly. What do you think are some changes that can be implemented amongst the artist community, bro?
The change
I
starts
want
with
to hear
us.
from all of y'all tonight.
It starts with
I'm
us.
serious.
We got to be the change
Okay,
we want
okay.
to see.
But what? Okay, I'm asking y'all. Hold on. That's basic answer, right? I know it starts with us.
Right.
Where do we start?
So I'm gonna go ahead, Ernest, and I'm gonna tell you.
I think manage expectation first. I hear quite a few people that say, pass the mantle, pass the mantle, pass the mantle. And I want to ask, when is it time to pass the mantle? Because most of when I came into the industry, when I came into prominence, there was a Daryl Coley, there was a Marvin Sapp, there was a Fred Hammond, there was a Kirk Franklin. These are the male vocalists. And I looked for the same thing. I said, I'm just waiting for my first text message, for my first Donnie McClurkin. I waited for all of these. And you know what somebody sat me down, a preacher sat me down and say, until those guys retire and they can no longer sing, why are they going to go sit down and then tell you to go take all the other engagements they was doing? They're not retired yet. They still in the game. So I'm new. I'm coming in and I'm like, nobody is going to affirm you. And then this is the question about the new generation. Are they reachable and are they teachable? Some of them have become superstars because of the internet. So whereas me and Daryl Coley and all of us, we had to get in a car or we have to fly, they can get with their phones and they can access millions of people. So overnight, they are now saturated with, oh, we love you, oh, we book you. So when you go to them to try to, as the Bible would say, let the older teach the younger, they know it. So just a handful of them are reachable and teachable. And the Bible tells us to not cast your pearls before swine. So I think the first thing we have to do is manage expectation. When are we expecting these people to sit down and no longer go and work and make a living to support their families? The retirement age is 65. How many recording artists do you know right now that are 65? That's the first thing. And the second thing is, are they open and receptive to wise counsel? And I'll leave it there.
So that's good. And let me say, when I say pass the mantle, maybe it's not just passing the mantle, maybe it's the support factor. And that comes with a level of insecurity or security in knowing who you are.
That part.
All of those artists, all of those parties that you're talking, everybody knew who they are. I could name the dope choir directors, Orlando Draper, and you had so many co-directors in one season, and everybody was on their way up. You know what I mean? I mean, Lonnie Hunter, all of them. I mean, it was incredible the amount of choir directors and choirs and worship leaders that were successful. I'm talking about, when I say collab, maybe let me change that to support.
Good.
I got you.
And supporting one another on a regular basis, and not when I get hot.
Come on.
So when my time, like Charles Perry said, when the time comes,
watch yourself.
And when your time comes, then everybody wants to jump on. Man, I know him. I know James. When James hit number one, I know James.
That's just how it goes, bro.
What Jay Clay is saying is so real. With Jay Clay, this is what nothing displays a person's true character more than how they treat you when they feel they don't have no need of you.
Ooh, that's good.
Nothing displays a person's true character more.
Oh, bro.
This is why you do need to be careful how you treat people, because the person that you jocking off today, or like, look, he ain't no, they'll be in a position to help you tomorrow. That's the way things are going. And if we have learned nothing from the pandemic, you can easily lose power like that, especially now. So many program directors that were once in place that were mean and nasty, that wouldn't play your music, no longer have a job.
And we're not laughing at them because that's not nice.
And it's not a laugh, but it's a few of them.
Stop laughing.
I'm not laughing.
Right
who's laughing?
Yo, Stan definitely laughing, and I am too.
I'm laughing at Charles.
What is wrong with y'all? I'm not laughing.
Trevone, you know what I learned?
I was being serious.
If we're in the community of let me say this. If we're a kingdom community, I don't want to say church. If this is a kingdom community, we supposed to be handling each other with love and respect and honor
anyway. Yeah, right.
Ain't no way it's going to be my choir against your choir, my praise team and against your praise. That's the stupid. Well, we sing higher than y'all. We modulate 20 more times. We're not doing choir wars. You know, when I was coming up, I didn't see James Moore going against Daryl Coley. You know what I'm saying? I saw them working together. I seen concerts of them cats working together. You know, and I'm just saying, like, what has happened? You know, this is good tonight.
This is really good tonight, and then
I'm glad I'm here.
Somebody got who put they thing in their car because I hear echo. Hello?
I'm in my car.
Hello? All right, no. All right, so look. I hear it again. Jesus. All right, so
Jules probably playing his Bluetooth.
Yeah.
All right, so
take it off your Bluetooth, bro.
So, hello. All right. So, Jules, I actually want you to speak to that because you were around a very prominent choir in your coming up days. Did you feel like it was a war on the choirs back in the day? Can you hear me?
The wars didn't just. Y'all can't hear me?
Yeah, we hear you
There
now.
you go. You back?
Yeah, we hear you now. You back? You hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I think, my personal opinion, I think the notion that we need support, I think that's a little bit overextended. I came up, for those who don't know, my family's West Indian. And I decided, yo, I'm gonna meet Hezekiah Walker. I'm gonna play for Hezekiah Walker, and I'm gonna write for Hezekiah Walker. You know what I'm saying? And I did that with the support of myself, my determination, and the Lord God Almighty. And I've been like that ever since. I don't look for no handouts. I could be right in the car with a millionaire, billionaire, and need $10. I wouldn't even look their way because I just believe that God is going to provide. Now, the notion that Daryl Coley and James Moore didn't compete, that's false. When we was on stage with Milton Brunson and everybody else, that's an incredible choir. We had to make sure we step our A game up. Now, we wasn't trying to be like them, and it wasn't necessarily a competition, but it's the same thing then that's going on now. I think the problem now is, again, there is no real uniqueness that makes things stand out. The support always came from whoever that individual is. You look at a Rich Talbert, he doesn't get more support than the next man. It just so happens that he created a fan base for what he's doing, and people are checking for him. You know what I mean? And you can't really blame that on, I don't think, support is needed. Support is helpful. But if you hot, you hot. I don't know, Stan may be able to remember this, but there was one time when Todd Tribbett did like all the after parties after the Stellars. Before he came out. And from that moment, Todd took off because he wore them parties out. He was dope. And that's what happened. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's a competitive edge. If you're musical, it's going to be a competitive edge. But I don't think support is what's killing us. I think the content is what's killing us. You know what I'm saying? Where are the hits? Where are the hits? Where are the reason why we sing? Where are the Take Me to the Kings? Where are the Shackles? Where are the hits? Look at the charts. Who's number one? You know that's bogus. Listen to the music. Where are the hits? It ain't about support. We don't got the content like we had it.
Well, I think there's two. Oh, now your echoes in. You got to take your Bluetooth back on, bro. But
do you ever watch the country western artists?
Go ahead.
Everybody's stuff on everybody's page.
No, who that?
Yeah. And do you watch when a CCM artist comes out? Do you notice they're on TBN the whole week?
Yeah.
Dallas. Yeah. They go to Dallas. They go to the Billions. They go to LA. They go. They call each other and they say, Martha Muniz and them, they'll bring you all on these shows. So Jason is in my and I know, Jules, that was your perspective, but let me put perspective on it. On release week, trying to call around to get on TBN, trying to call around to get on Word Never, where the millions of viewers are. That's hard. That you need the support of your fellow artists who are in these positions. Ty Tribbett is in Oakland. The Jakes and the Binions are in Dallas. What's the Javen is in somewhere else. And it's like, if they don't answer the call, guess what? When release week come, all you got left is social media and that minister of music or that one connection you got in the industry. But they do it a whole different way over when the Planet Shakers and Tori Kelly and all them come out. They don't do it like how we do it. They get on the phone, and they say, what you call has a record coming out. They need to be on TBN. And they're all everywhere. They're everywhere. And so you got to have the support some of your fellow artists. So I have to balance what Jason said a little bit because
I'm just telling you, I'm just grateful that I'm able to be on both sides of the Christian world right now. Like I got a song on CCM radio right now, and I'm as an artist, and
Salutes, bro.
Thanks, man. Glory to God, man. And I'm what I'm learning from that, because I'm learning from this situation. His marketing team said to him 2 days ago, "You're not picking up the followers that you had before because of what you're doing right now with this." They didn't say it, but they said it, with this Black gospel choir and with this CCM market, that you can sing the hooks, but you can't sing the verses. So we don't know where to put you at. His response to them was, "We're making a new lane. So you have to get on board with this new lane that we're creating."
Wow.
And all of the marketing team said, the owner of Wisdom called him the next day and said, "You know what, you're right. We got to figure this thing out." And so my thing is, there's a figuring out process that we got to go through before we just throw somebody out. Everybody on here has different gifts and talents, amazing songs that they put out. We are missing records that have substance because we're not paying attention to them just because they're not signed. I wouldn't say all artists don't have songs that have substance. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just be 100 about it.
I wouldn't say
Kenny Lewis's record is one of the best records
amazing.
that came out.
His project is amazing.
His project is amazing, bro.
Amazing from top to bottom. I talked to him today. He got 1 million views, 1.2 million views on the song, another 1 point something million views on the song. So I wouldn't just say that all of gospel music doesn't have any substance. I just think we're not paying attention to the material that really has substance. Now, I was riding in the car today and listening to Sirius XM, and I heard a song and I was like, now, who put that on the radio? You know what I mean? It had a nursery rhyme in it. And I was just like, why did y'all let them sing that? Why did y'all let the artist sing that? And even the radio announcer came back and said, did I hear a little Mary Had a Little Lamb at the middle of that on the end of the song now? You know, and so for me, it's two parts. The program directors, the real A&Rs, who's choosing the material to put out here on radio just because you're trying to stay in the know of what radio is playing instead of putting out the songs that have substance. Because I've heard records that have been put on the radio and I've listened to the album and been like, why didn't they put that song on the radio?
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, so I think that there's multiple conversations that need to be
Sure.
had when it comes to that. Where's every song that's out,
But
I'm sorry,
Jason,
y'all.
I'm gonna say this: more than hits, I want to be impactful. I could care less about hits.
Good.
Who is my music reaching?
Good.
Hits are wonderful, but it's even better when your songs make a difference in the world. And that for me is forgotten about. There's some amazing artists out today. Kenny, that project is ridiculous. Those of y'all who ain't got it, y'all go support our brother
Get that joint.
Kenny Lewis. That dude is a problem.
Right.
Bananas. And some of these people just haven't had the break or maybe the proper push. Let's be honest. A lot of us on here are indie. There's a lot of people that are indie artists right now, don't have a machine behind them. So I just feel like, you just got to keep going, man, and do this music thing, man, and make music to impact the world. Make music to change lives. That's what it boils down to.
I agree with all sides. I believe in hits. I believe in
definitely
creating, making songs that are impactful. And then I'm also smart. I've been around been around a little bit of time now, and I've also got in the game to also find out that ain't got nothing to do with it. At the end of the day, if you ain't coming with some capital, if you're not coming with the right people to push your music, you're not gonna be at number one. It's not happening. You can have a number one song.
It costs you.
But you can have a number one song, but that doesn't mean it's going to be at number one. And most people with the quality song to combat these songs that we see that stay in the top 5 that we know can be nursery rhymes sometimes, it's because they don't have the machine to back them up. Yeah. Which is what earlier we were speaking about, label versus indie and all of that type of stuff. And this is why people do go to labels so that they can kind of get that push, or whatever happens.
Trevone, if I could jump in, I think it was Dr. Pugh mentioned this earlier. Biblically, there's a thought of the sons of Issachar, and what makes them paradigm shifters is that they understood the signs of the time. Now that's spiritual, but if I can flip it for a moment, in the industry, you got to know the signs of the time. There was a moment in history, as we've spoken tonight, where you got your Hezekiah Walkers, you got your, and they had audiences, they had choirs in churches that would take their music in certain circuits and would sing it every single Sunday. And they were blasting. At one time, you couldn't walk in a church and not hear Rain on Us. That was one of the first times. To get to that minor part at the end of that and hear Ernest Pugh. Every church, you can sing it as a choir, you can sing it as a praise team, and you had churches that were adopting and making their choirs and devotion gospel music.
Fact.
We now have the dwindling of the choir. So for the person like a J. Clay, like a Vincent Tharpe, who are choir people, now have to figure out the signs of the time to get choir music out with no choirs.
Jesus.
So we don't have the church engines that we used to have to push in a Sunday morning service, to push in a revival. You could go to revival back in the day, and if you had a good pick them up and put them down, they was going to work that thing. And then the people were going to say, now, who is that? Oh, that's this person. That's how you sold a record.
True.
Then they would say, well, let me call them in, and then you get to come in and do your song. And, we had musicals, and I know I'm a little dating myself now. We had musicals, and we had convocations, and we had this meeting where you were able to display your gift. That now the church, because of what has happened, not just in the pandemic, but what began to happen way before the pandemic, things begin to dwindle down, and it began to be not so spiritual in the church.
All right.
Man,
Bishop,
And
you
there was a
talking, Doc.
day
Watch
that the church
yourself.
accepted spiritual music, accepted music that made me feel the presence of God,
Wow.
accepted music that made me want to get closer to him. And we
Wow.
replaced that with timelines.
Wow.
So there's no
Watch
room
yourself,
anymore
Bishop.
for the presence of God. There's no room anymore for that expression of who God is, and we kind of work God out. So what happened was,
That's
for
so
those
good.
that were creating God music, there was no place for the God music to be heard.
Oh, wow.
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 Come
So
on,
all
Doc.
we have now
Oh,
is that which was mainstream that made me cry but didn't make me think. That made the quick melody but didn't affect my relationship. That made me sound good but didn't make me want to repent. So we replaced, God, thank you, Holy Spirit. We replaced that. So it's not that there's not content.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes it's not being heard because there's that the place where it was supposed to be heard
they
has
don't
now
respect
kind
it
of
no
been
more.
removed.
Come on, Doc.
Yeah.
I'm done. Bishop, I'm
Holy
done.
Ghost.
Yeah.
So
Bishop,
That's
did
it.
you
I'm
just
done.
now every
That's the
artist,
benediction.
did you
the
just
artists
flip
that
us
hear
like
the
we was
heart
at
of
church?
God, the
Bishop,
heart
I'm
of
done.
God that they hear is struggling, trying to figure out how
Oh,
do I get them to hear the heart of God. And
Wow.
then the labels tell us, no offense to Stan, tell us, no, that ain't what it is because that ain't mainstream. So we're not
Come
going to play
on,
that
Bishop.
as the single. That's what the label.
What you
Now, I'm not
talking about?
knocking nobody. I'm not
I'm
saying
gonna
nobody needs to deal with labels.
I'm gonna put
But
my picture on picture because I'm gonna cry and I don't want y'all to see me cry. So I love y'all.
Go ahead.
God
so
bless.
so
Go
so
ahead.
so
Y'all hear my
now
voice.
now as an artist we're dealing with, or I'm not so much anymore because I bought myself out of my thing, but for
Wow.
those that can't afford to buy themselves out of a contract, and no offense to Stan, I love Stan, he's the greatest to ever do it, but for those other entities that try to, that's not mainstream, that's not this, and your heart is grieved because you know you heard God. You know God spoke to you. You know you were weeping when you wrote this lyric. You know you were weeping when this melody came to your mind, that came to your heart, but you can't get it out.
Wow.
Because that's not really what we're doing right now. And then they tell you we need something more like this.
Wow.
So then an artist is faced to feel relevant. They have to feel like they have to do it that way in order to be relevant in this time.
Wow.
So we're not fighting to make the music, and sometimes we're just fighting to be relevant in a certain particular time period.
Help us, Jesus. Help us tonight.
Wow.
But
where's the identity then?
Right.
Because now we have to suppress who we are.
Right.
In order to fit.
And this is why, James, we have to use connection and collaboration.
Oh my God.
Because if there's no connection and collaboration, you will feel isolated and you will feel like a loner for the rest of your life. So I don't need the support to validate necessarily who I am, but I do need the support to validate the fact that I'm not crazy.
What I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Because if I don't have somebody that can say to me, even the disciples had to be sent out by twos. So if I don't have somebody to say to me, bro, you on the right track, it's okay. I'm in the same boat you in. Let's do this together. I know. And shout out to my bro. I get it. You know, you don't need it. Some stuff we can do on our own. But even the people I've played for, you wouldn't know I played for them if they don't say I did.
Wow.
So at the end of the day, my ability to connect is my ability to survive and live. Because even at the people in Dallas, the people in Houston, and I was stuck in San Antonio for 4 days, when we lost power, you had to go find somebody that had it.
Come on.
Yeah.
So in this age, our survival is dependent on who we can connect with in order to help keep the power, and as Jesse Jackson would say, the hope alive.
Man.
Come on, Bishop.
Man, listen, man.
I'm done.
Man, he has come in and dumped the church upside down, and I'm so full tonight
Jesus Christ.
as I was the last time we did this and every time we do this. And
Mm-mm-mm.
Jason, don't feel bad because this week is you. Last month it was me. Okay, so it's your turn to cry. It's your turn.
He just
It's your turn.
embodied. I think a lot of times when I come off, people think I'm complaining,
Right.
and it's just the passion of me wanting to see.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
I just want to see. We should be winning as a kingdom.
Yeah, we should.
Thank you, Jason.
We shouldn't be losing.
Thank you, Jason.
And it feels like I know we're not losing, but it feels like.
Feel you, bro.
I feel you, bro.
It feels like we're losing because those that should be generals are not stepping up into the full calling of what God has called them to be. And I've heard songs that Jules did by himself, Jules and Judah Camp, that had oil that should have been number one. You know what I mean? And because of a non-stamp, I've watched singers that should have had records that should have been pushed. I can call their names: Nikki Ross, Candy West. There's a lot of people that have oil. Let me not talk about gift, but oil. I've seen them dump rooms, and I've seen them, the oil of the Lord on them. Why didn't we take the oil and the gift and with the platform that somebody else had, create a space, even if just create the space for them.
Wow.
You know, create the space and then cultivate them in that space. Say, no, don't do it like this. Connect with this person. No, don't make this. This is how it should happen. No, there was no guidance. When I got with Ron Canoli and I stood in that room in Nashville and I tried to do all these riffs and runs, and Ron Canoli looked at me and said, we don't do that. Just sing plain. Because the gift is not in the riff. The gift is it's the oil that's already on you. Just sing plain. And when I started singing, tears welted up in his eyes, and he said, now you got it. And then, why are you looking so mad? Put a smile on your face. Why everybody in gospel music looks so mad? Put a smile on your face and let the people know you enjoying the presence of God.
That's right. That's right.
That part.
That's right.
It's Dr. Teresa Hairston said to me last week, she said, Jason, what's going on? Where is the standard? Where is the standard? Are we just letting everybody do everything they want to do and there's no standard? Everybody live any kind of way and there's no standard?
Wow.
Where's the standard in what we do? So I'm excited about your gift, but I'm excited that you're trying to live right.
Exactly.
I'm more excited that you're trying to live right, which enhances your gift. Bishop, you done messed me up, man. When I get off here, I'm shout by myself because it's the truth, man.
We'll be dancing with you,
man.
We'll be dancing with you.
My God.
Another powerful session and night. Every time I come on, one of you guys take off, or three of you, and then we on here for 8 hours when three of you do it. When one of you do it, we on for just 2. But when 3 of you do it, Lord Jesus, we can't come off. Tonight was so uplifting and inspiring and encouraging. And I pray that those are watching, and I know you're blessed because I see y'all giving the hearts and saying 100s and wow, Bishop Vaughn and wow, Bishop Vaughn. They're just saying it back to back. And everybody, I see all of the love that's being given and shown tonight. And I can feel the power of God coming through the screen and going through the Facebook land and blessing those who were feeling down before tonight. You got to stay the course. You got to stay the course. Whatever you do, stay the course. It's not going to be easy. In times, it's going to be very, very, at times you're going to feel defeated. Heck, sometimes you may be defeated, but don't let the defeat keep you. Get up, dust yourself off, and go back to work. Because that's the plan of the enemy. The greatest tool the enemy will use is discouragement.
Sure will.
When he can get you discouraged, he can knock you off kilter, and he can get you off your assignment. He can get you off your assignment, and you'll say, I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to be that. No, I don't want to do this because this is that and that and that. Stay the course. Hang on in there. Something is going to break. Everybody that's on this live right now has experienced that very moment. Everybody. Not one of us, not one of us have not experienced it. Everybody has felt like giving up at some point, or at least thought about it. It maybe passed through real quick. But the point is, these men are successful because they didn't give up. Yeah. There was a you, there was a them that they did not have no clue of. And had they quit, we wouldn't see Ernest Pugh with all of those accolades behind him. We wouldn't see a Stan Jones be the next Quincy Jones in the making. We wouldn't see Jules Bartholomew writing all over the world. We wouldn't see Jason Clayborn. We wouldn't know who Charles Perry was. We wouldn't know who James Mable was. We wouldn't know who Bishop Vaughn was. We wouldn't know who Bari or Gene Moore, anyone else that was on this live tonight. Stay the course. Pastor Stan, what do you have to say to that, the closing out moments? What do you want to say to the people for such a time as this, man? I feel God is doing something over there.
Man, Bishop Vaughn actually said it all, man. It was total blessing, the things that he said. I agree with your closing remarks, Trevone. You just have to stay the course, and we have to make sure that we keep our focus where it's supposed to be. And we're here, we're gifted, and we're on this planet to be a blessing to the masses. I think when we get confused is when we start focusing on the man next to us. So like we gotta be like those blinders that the racehorses wear. We can't pay attention to who's racing beside us, but focus on the goal. And the goal is to be a blessing to the people. And the truth of the matter is, once you do that, and you keep your focus on that, everything else that you're looking for. Now I'm thinking about the scripture that says, if you lift him up, man, everything else will be added.
Yeah.
Everything else
sir.
Will be added unto you. So if you keep your focus where it should be, then everything will work out just fine. Jason, man, keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yes, sir.
Don't wait on nobody to validate who you are, or anybody who's watching. Don't wait on nobody to validate you and tell you to pass a man. But believe it or not, this has been happening for centuries. This behavior. It's not just in this generation right now. It's been going on with the people that we admire, the people who admire that group of people. It's just been going on for a long time. So I mean, I think we could start to change it with ourselves. But again, I mean, it's a lot of work to do that. So we just keep praying, but focus on what you're here to do and do that.
One step at a time.
Absolutely.
One step at a time. I think I want to let this be known publicly. Not one of these brothers is, well, maybe I may not say this because they may be hard to reach. It may be hard to reach for you, but these brothers are down to earth brothers. And I believe if you send them an inbox or you have some questions, at some point they'll get to you when they can. They're very busy men. All of us are very, very busy men. But you know, these dudes, they don't think of themselves no highly than they ought to. And all of them have done great exploits. You know, I mean, my brother has been on the stage with any artist you can probably imagine, and he's reachable. You know what I'm saying? Jules have worked with anybody you could just about imagine, and he's reachable. Stan, we know what he do. He's reachable. These guys are Ernest Pugh, they're reachable and they're accessible to us. once again, I want to give flowers while you gentlemen can smell them and tell you guys, you are the pioneers of this generation. And we need you guys to survive and keep going. To Jules, Charlie, Stan, Ernest Pugh, Bishop Cortez, Vaughn. You guys, y'all our fathers. We looking up to you guys. You know what I'm saying? And we do what we do. Jason, myself, and James, and all the rest of them, we do what we do, man. Inspired by you guys, man. I want to give y'all roses while y'all can smell them, and tell y'all, man, we gonna keep pushing, and we're proud of you guys. Go ahead.
Let me say this in the spirit of giving flowers. Ernest may not remember this, but him and Kirk Franklin were my judges Sunday best in 2009.
Wow.
Lost the tiebreaker to get on the show. We were at the World Congress Center in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
I lost the tiebreaker to a cat from Atlanta who went on and got on the show or whatnot. But Ernest Pugh looked me in my face and said, James Mable Jr., get on a plane, go back to Texas, and keep singing. Just what Stan just said. Stay focused, keep doing what you have to do. And keep doing what you have to do. He said, your time is coming. That was 2000. Ernest, you remember that? I was crushed. Because I knew what I had, Jason. That's why you were hitting me so hard. I'm about to just run around the house right now. But Ernest Pugh looked in my face. This was in 2009. And so when you have generals, as Trevone was saying, who see something in you, but encourage you to stay the course and keep plowing, keep putting in the work. And when that shift and that moment happens, it's going to happen, and nobody can take that away from you. So Ernest, while the blood is running warm in your veins, as the old folks say, I want to say, as a young buck, man, thank you for just seeing something in me and saying, James, just go back to Texas and keep singing. That just because you got denied and lost the tiebreaker here in Atlanta does not invalidate your gifting. It's what God has called you to do. So Ernest, thank you, man.
Wow, and I had no clue of that.
Wow. Listen, just what you have to do, Jason, and you too, Mable, rehearse past victories. When you get in a place that it seems like you're just not moving, you're just stagnant, rehearse past victories, because it is the strategy of the enemy to not only distract you, but really to blind you. The Bible talks about how the God of this world has blinded the minds. Sometimes the enemy will blind you and you'll lose sight of all that God has already done. Because we could be so overwhelmed with what our goals and our aspirations are. But when you feel like you're just in one place, rehearse that if he did it before, he'll do it again. And when you find yourself, your creative juices, the oil will flow. When you get in there, remind God of what he did before, you can throw yourself a party and you'll pick yourself up. But we do get to a place where and the last thing I'm gonna say is, man, just go read up on Samson. He was tested down in the vineyard of Timnath. And sometimes when you're in a vineyard, we can think because we're working so hard, we can get some grapes and have a little juice. No. When you're in the vineyard working, he put him in the vineyard to really test him. If you go read that story of Samson down in the vineyard of Timnath, it will blow your mind. He was going somewhere, but he had to pass the test. And sometimes the test is discouraged. The test is a rejection. The test is a no.
Come on, God.
Just say rehearse past victories.
The yes is a no. And rehearse past victories. I'm telling, I'm gonna dance the rest of the weekend off of that word. Now. The rest of the weekend off of that.
Wow.
Jules,
I'm gonna write a song for that, Ernest, and it's gonna send it to you.
Please do.
Please do.
Rehearse past. That's so good. Jules, any closing remarks you want to give to the people? Encourage someone that may be struggling. Another songwriter that feels like they can write, but they don't know who to get their music to. What would you say?
I would say make sure you give your music to the maker. You got to trust God and understand that He is the source. And if you put your faith behind what you're doing, He will lead you and guide you to the place you need to be. A lot of times we find the solution in our own humanistic fashion, but I'm a witness that if you trust God and you seek him first, then you will find your way to where you got to go. And I know it seems mystical sometimes, and I know it seems spiritual, but I'm telling you, as a Black young man, I've been through some stuff where I couldn't depend on people, you know what I mean? And things looked really bad. And sometimes I just got that tunnel vision. That's why I'm the way I am. And it's for sure gonna work if you put him first.
Amen. Amen. Charlie, what would you say to that young, inspiring brother that wants to come up and do what you do and sing and be on a platform with a David Foster, whom we could only dream you would have ever been able to do? What would you say to that person that's getting discouraged to say, I've been doing this for too long and nothing is broken yet?
Wow. I would say what I always say, and I tell you, don't suffocate the hope. Embrace this process while you're here. Your story is going to be so great, and the trials that you're going through is going to make good for your motion picture to fully tell your story one day. And you'll never know what could happen if you stop in the middle of your process. Keep going. You can't kill destiny. You're anointed to fight. You're anointed to survive. You're anointed to keep taking these hits that you're taking because God chose you out of everybody on the planet. He chose you. Keep going. There are benefits in the wait. You're only a phone call away from your greatest moment ever. From your greatest moment ever.
That. I received
and
that.
if you take your life and if you suffocate the hope, you'll miss God in a mighty way. So I speak to you. I speak to all of you songwriters, singers, Levites. Keep going. Your time is coming. Keep going.
Bishop Vaughn, you want to give us a word and pray us out?
Yes, again, it was great to be on with you, wonderful gentlemen, and everybody watching us live. As Jason was talking, everybody was, especially everybody was closing out. What I heard kind of echo in my spirit is you have to know what you were created to be. Wow. Because that's what goes along with your process. So if you're created to be a person who writes about faith, your process is strictly about faith. Wow. So it is literally where you have to trust God past it. That's why people who write about healing sometimes go through the greatest struggles in their body. Absolutely. People who write about, it will get better, have to understand what depression is about and have to understand what struggle is about, because you cannot write and give a thing over that you have not experienced. And let me say this to Jay, to Pastor Ernest, to Stan, to James, to Pastor Charles, to you, Trevone. We cannot build the ark because there's rain. We have to build it because he said the rain is coming.
Come on.
Wow.
And sometimes the depressing part is I got to build when there's no sign of what he said.
Wow.
Wow.
So you got to build it even when there's no rain in sight. But anytime God asks us to build something, he will always give a blueprint on what he wants to see. Because 9 times out of 9, if he said it's going to be rain, it's going to be some rain. So in our frustration, let's be faithful. Because you don't get to choose your process.
No,
your process chooses you.
No, sir.
So I guess that's my turn to pray. So, Father God, I thank you. Thank you for Trevone, God. We thank you for the vision you've given him.
Yes,
thank you for him pulling all of us together, God. And thank you that we have like-minded brothers who have been on to the course of this night and the nights before that just want to spend time to inspire others, God, but have general moments and genuine moments of just vulnerability. thank you that real worship breeds vulnerability and real vulnerability breeds healing. So thank you for the healing that has happened on this line. Thank you for this Zoom and the process that we are all in today. God, those who are watching us, those who are viewing live, God, may have been in a place before this Zoom, before this moment in time that they were ready to give up, God, but I thank you strength has come. I thank you that encouragement has come. Even some of us on this Zoom, God, we sometimes encourage from a place that we need encouragement ourselves, God, but I pray that we can be what we didn't have. I pray that we can become for somebody else what we wish we had for our own selves. God, I pray that after tonight, not only will you encourage who we are, but you will encourage us in the path that you have chosen for us to walk down. And God, whether the rain drops today or tomorrow, thank you that we won't stop building. God, you even told Nehemiah to stay on the wall and build a wall when there was no threat imminent. At the end of the day, God, we're not building because of the threat. We're not building because of the rain. We're building because we know that greater is coming. So I've got to build and be prepared. And God, I pray for every man that has children on this Zoom. God, I feel an anointing here.
Yes, Lord.
That God, you will allow us to build something that our children can live in. God, that we will build something that our babies won't have to suffer, that our babies won't have to encounter some of the things. And for those that don't have children, those that plan on having children, allow these men of God to build in the kingdom in a way that their children and their children's children will reap the benefit of what you've allowed them to walk through. God, let the generations after us receive the fruits of our labor. God, and we'll be careful to give you praise and give you honor. We'll be careful, and we understand that things will get better because we survived it. We understand better days are ahead. We understand that your glory is about to reign like never before. And God, we pray that you will be magnified. And after everything we've written is over, after every song is sung, let somebody be healed, set free, and delivered. In your son, Jesus the Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Wow.
Amen.
Wow. Wow. I felt that and I feel a release. Ooh, thank you, Jesus. Oh man, before we go, Ernest Pugh, give out your just everybody just in a row, just give out your social media handle and what you got going on next, and we on out of here.
ErnestPugh.com is the website, and be on the lookout for I'm doing a live recording in Rochester, New York, Good Friday. So Jake and Jones, get ready. I'm getting ready to bug y'all. I need just one song apiece.
We got you, Ernest.
Got you.
James Mable.
Yes, JamesMableJr.com, Instagram and Twitter at JMableJr, Facebook James Mable Jr. At midnight, somebody shout at midnight.
At midnight.
I am releasing a song.
Is it midnight yet?
Oh, it's almost there.
Another hour. Another hour.
We're going to be releasing a song for pre-order entitled "Heal Our Land." It is a song for the nations, and it's going to be available on all digital outlets. The video is going to premiere on March the 11th, with the song dropping on March the 12th. But
come on now,
midnight tonight, go ahead and pre-order it. I'll be putting it on my socials and just asking for God's breath to be up on it, and whatever's going to happen, to God be the glory in advance.
Send us the cover of it so we can promote it.
Absolutely.
Yes, please do, bro. Send me everything.
Definitely.
Okay, Jay Clay.
Yeah, so the Choir Sessions album is out. Go grab that. Not my personal album, but Stephen McWhirter featuring Jason Clayborn. I co-wrote every song on the record. It's out now. Go check it out. It's the perfect blend between gospel and CCM. And we wrote all of the songs together. Go grab it. It's called Choir Sessions. It's amazing. And then my record is about to drop second. I'm gonna show y'all the cover. Those are my kids. Y'all get to see the cover first.
Hey,
so my record is coming. Second week of April it drops. I redid a song I wrote called "You're All I Need" featuring Bishop Ez, and the music video is done. So the music video drops. We're waiting to get pre-orders from the label for the album, because when you pre-order the record, you'll get the 4 songs that we've dropped over this pandemic. God Made It Beautiful, Praise Belongs to You, Creator. You'll get You're All I Need featuring Bishop Hez. And I'm just grateful to be able to work in this pandemic and do what I do, man. So Choir Sessions is out right now. And then you can go grab all the singles, Jason Clayborn and the Atmosphere Changers. Pick it up, watch all the music videos on YouTube right now. And follow me at Jason Clayborn 44 on Instagram, theatmospherechangers.com.
Let's go. Any Jules Bartholomew?
I'm at Jules Judah on Instagram, and Jules Bartholomew on Facebook. I'm working on so many different things, but we got a new single called Revival with Tasha Page Lockhart and Jermaine Valley. That's will be released top of March. And got a single called Better with Pastor McClurkin that's to be released soon. And then we're working on a new, Bishop Walker's working on a new project, and that's in progress as we go.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Charles.
Listen, all you guys can follow me at the Charles Perry on Instagram, and follow me at Charles Perry Music on Facebook. You could also catch me March the 6th in Los Angeles, California. And then after that, I'll be making my way to Port Huron, Michigan. And then I'll be coming to Portmore, Jamaica, and then Decatur, Georgia, and Baltimore, Maryland. Catch me on this tour. I'm excited. And we've also got some filming and some television stuff in the works. I'm really, really excited. Just got 2 big phone calls. So just stay tuned. God is good.
Yes, sir. Stan Jones.
Happy to be here, man. I enjoyed you guys once again. Have the single with King Spirituals and Reverend Al Green drops at midnight tonight on our social.
Yeah. We've been waiting on that one.
Yeah, it comes out tonight at midnight. So I'll be in the stable beside you, Bishop James Mable. No, but very excited about that. A lot of great and exciting things coming out on Entertainment One, so be on the lookout for that. So yeah.
Amazing. Bishop Vaughn.
Again, I appreciate y'all letting me hang out, man. I'm inspired, real talk. Just dropped, what was that? Valentine's Day, dropped the official video to the single Beautiful One. You know, we're trying to keep up with them Clayborns over there in the Abbey with these videos. We had another single about to drop.
Hey, hit me up. I got you. I'll hook you up. I got it. Very inexpensive.
Yes, sir. So we're about to drop another single entitled I'm Why. It deals with the cross. It deals with the price that Jesus paid, and it says that I am the reason he did that. So that should be out in a couple of weeks, right before Resurrection or Easter Sunday, if you will. So that would be with E1, Indie Blue. So I'm excited about that. Maybe Stan, call me and tell me I did a good job on this one. Please, Stan, please.
Man, you always kidding. Always.
But I'm excited about the connection. You can follow me, Bishop Cortez Vaughn, on Instagram. Cortez Vaughn, the official Bishop Cortez Vaughn on Facebook. But my YouTube page, that's where, or E1 Nashville, that's where the video is. We got some other stuff that's on our YouTube page that I believe it'll bless. Got a song on that I did some years ago called As We Cry. It really deals with, the Bible says that the weight of the nations or the weight of the world is upon his shoulders. So we deal with that moment, telling God to hear our plea as we cry. That was some years ago, but it kind of works now. So as you go to the YouTube page, you'll be able to see what we have. My son's on there. I just started a YouTube page with him. So we shooting videos, he's singing. I shot Charles over some stuff, and I mean, it's like, God is really kind of doing his thing in my son, man. So I'm pushing him even more than I push myself. So Love you all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for letting me hang out.
Love
Real
you
talk,
too, bro.
man.
Thank you for the words, bro.
Thank you. Bishop.
Listen, I wanted to show y'all the cover. Those of you that still hold on. James Mable just sent me the cover. This is what you go look for with James Mable tonight when you downloading.
Nice graphic too.
Nice
Great
graphic.
graphic.
And before we go, it's Trevone Perry underscore on Instagram, Trevone Perry Twitter, Trevone Perry and Divine Purpose on where's that on? On Facebook. And in 2 weeks from now, we'll be bringing you something special. I was trying to pull this up, sorry. My very next single will be dropping. All right. 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
And we're doing the music video in a couple weeks from now. I can't wait. I can't wait to do that. I'm just be my first. We're gonna do something with that again too. So all right, it's coming out soon. We're getting ready to do the music video. I can't wait. This will be my first time working with my big brother on this thing. So we're gonna make some. We're gonna have some fun, and then we got some other great things coming next. Please. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please like and share this broadcast. I know some of you gonna wait to watch the playback because that's what you people do. Y'all don't want us to know that you're watching sometimes, so you come and watch the playback. So it's all right. But however, as long as you watch it and get this information. Until next time, please remember to live in purpose, on purpose, for the purpose God has on your life. We love you. We see you next time.